This free-to-play Steam game is amazing. This one is an absolute classic. This game is a huge player base, this one is a must-play, this one is too, and this game takes a genre to the next level. Have you just downloaded Steam and simply want the best free-to-play games? Well, you're in the right place. The Steam store has thousands of free-to-play games, but I've compiled a list of all the ones that are worth playing. This is Undercover Dudes, and these are the top 50 free-to-play games you must play on Steam. Let's get straight into it. Starting out today with Caliber, a relatively new free-to-play, team-based tactical third-person shooter. With over 60 operators to choose from and a ton of weapons, maps, and modes, there's lots of content that bolster the snappy tactical gunplay and core movement, culminating into an awesome shooter experience. Next is Enlisted, the squad-based, massively multiplayer shooter game that combines infantry, ground vehicles, and aircraft fighting together on World War II themed maps. You control either a squad of 4 to 7 soldiers of various classes, or a tank crew, or an aircraft pilot. The gameplay feels fantastic, the graphics are awesome, it's one of the best war-themed free-to-play shooters out there. Next up today is Omega Strikers, a game that bleeds the line between Rocket League, League of Legends, and strategy games. You use attacks and abilities from a variety of different characters known as strikers to go and beat your opponents, attempting to score as many goals as possible. The quick match format makes it perfect for a short game, and it's also really easy to run. Check it out. Next today is Totally Accurate Battlegrounds, a physics-based battle royale game. This game is wild, the gameplay is crazy with huge ragdoll physics, the weapons are wacky, and the levels are designed to be chaotic and hilarious. This comes together in a super unique, fun-focused way, showing that games don't have to be serious for them to be good. Next is probably one of the best MMORPGs on Steam, and that's Lost Ark. The combat in this game is fluid and satisfying, the graphics are gorgeous, and the world is pretty damn huge. This, however, is slightly spoiled by the big cash grab attitude of the developers, so keep that in mind if you want to sink some time into this game. Next up is War Selection, a real-time strategy game that features a simple but addictive gameplay loop and surprisingly decent graphics. In this game, you evolve from a Stone Age tribe to a distinct industrial nation, battling for supremacy with dozens of players on a unique procedurally generated map. Third-person shooters are all the rage, and one of the most popular right now is Rogue Company. In this game, you take control of different mercenaries across a variety of game modes. However, the core identity is around the economy system that's quite similar to games such as CSGO. It's fast-paced, straightforward, and a good amount of fun, the third-person shooter of choice in the free-to-play scene. Next is a game called Deceit, a first-person multiplayer horror game where you must work together to escape a haunted asylum while figuring out who's actually infected. Deceit is a fast-paced and suspenseful game that'll keep you on the edge of your seat, and this has resulted in a very positive rating, definitely worth checking out. Next up is VR Chat, a free-to-play virtual reality social platform where you create your own avatars and worlds. In this, there are thousands of worlds to explore. From social places to gaming arenas, it's truly next level. It's fun, you can meet new people and just muck around. It's a pretty unique experience overall. One of the best hero shooters out there is Paladins, probably second to Overwatch 2. Developed by Hi-Rez Studios and launched in 2016, Paladins has an extremely diverse range of heroes, addictive gameplay, and great visuals. People naturally make comparisons to Overwatch, but in my opinion, Paladins has more parallels with traditional first-person shooters in regards to the combat mechanics, and that's why I really like it. Next is Smite, a multiplayer online battle arena game where players control gods and goddesses from various mythologies. The game is played from a third-person perspective, and players can choose from over 100 characters to play as. Each god has their own unique abilities and playstyle, so that, plus the fast-paced and action-packed gameplay, is a great combo, definitely worth checking out. One game that I absolutely have to mention is Krunker, the fast-paced, class-based first-person shooter. I've played this game for years and for good reason. It's got back-to-basics gameplay with a focus on raw aim and skill, add on the large amount of maps and modes, and it's a great time. Best of all, it's super low spec and can be also played in the browser. Next today is EVE Online, an MMORPG set in a vast, persistent universe. In EVE, you can choose to be anything from a space trucker to a galactic conqueror, and the game features a complex economy, player-driven warfare, and a thriving player-created content scene. EVE Online is known for its steep learning curve, but it's popular for a reason. It's really worthwhile if you're gonna sink a lot of time into it. Next today is Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, the latest free-to-play digital card game based on the iconic anime series. This game features awesome looking graphics, a sick soundtrack, and an in-depth tutorial series which is perfect for new players and veterans alike. Overall, it's a really solid title and is definitely worth a try, especially if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh! fan. While not a traditional game like the others on this list, we have to mention AimLab, the free-to-play aim trainer. Similar in vein to Kovacs and the such, AimLab's goal is to make you better at first-person shooters, and it does that very well with its huge array of training types and custom settings. Fallout Shelter on the surface is a pretty simple game. Build and manage your own vault as a leader and coordinator. Gameplay revolves around keeping the citizens of the vault happy by providing power, food, and water, and you can also rescue dwellers from the wasteland. It's straightforward but high quality fun. Up next is Bloons TD Battles, a fun and addictive tower defense game that's perfect for a quick pick up and play session. The game is simple to learn, so it's perfect for anyone to play, but it's very difficult to master, and there's a ton of different towers and upgrades to experiment with. The battles concept works perfectly in the free-to-play platform, and overall it's a really good game. Goose Goose Duck is free to play Among Us, but arguably even better. It's got the same concept, but this time there are a ton of sub-roles, different game modes, and even voice chat, which overall really enhances the experience. Intel Core 2 Duo 2 gigs of RAM and integrated graphics are the minimum to run this game, the definition of low spec for sure. The hype around the new Portal is very much alive in 2023, and while we don't have it just yet, we have Aperture Desk Job, a free playable short. You play as an entry-level nobody at their first day at work. The humor is amazing, the graphics are incredible, the gameplay is really feature-packed. Overall, it's a fantastic and extremely fun time, and it's to be expected from any Valve title at this point, and overall, it's definitely worth playing. Next up is the one and only Doki Doki, a visual novel that starts out as a cute dating sim but quickly takes a dark turn. The game is full of surprises and twists, perfect if you're looking for a unique and disturbing gaming experience. Add on the graphics, fantastic story, and just a super unique concept overall, and this game is definitely worth playing. Shadowline is next for today, an arena FPS featuring several traditional PvP modes along with a roguelike co-op mode called Expedition. It bears resemblance to Apex, Call of Duty, Overwatch, etc., while still rooting itself as a classic arcadey first-person shooter, which is awesome to see. It has passionate and dedicated Ukrainian developers, tons of content, and it's just a really fun game. Check it out. Next is Kart Rider Drift, Nexon's free-to-play attempt to rival Mario Kart. The gameplay is awesome, it's accessible to everyone, but it's also quite in-depth and competitive. Out on top of this, the deep kart customization, fantastically bright and detailed graphics, and large array of characters and karts, and it makes sense to check this one out. Next is a bullet hell twin-stick shooter called Bloody Hell. This game features frantic shooter gameplay along with absolutely standout pixel graphics that takes things to the next level, and that's despite it being very easy to run. No doubt it's obvious why people like this game given it's got an overwhelmingly positive rating, but add on top of that, it was made by only 3 students, which is super impressive. One of the few games with an overwhelmingly positive rating is OpenTTD, a business simulation game where you earn money by transporting passengers and cargo via road, rail, water, and air. It's an open source remake and expansion of Transport Tycoon Deluxe and doesn't follow any of the free-to-play trends of 2023. Next is Deathly Stillness, a really high quality zombie shooter game made by one person in 17 days. The first thing that hits you is the graphics, as they're incredibly nice to look at. The movement feels good, but the gunplay is where it's at, and add on top of that the intensity of a whole group of zombies swarming towards you at once. It's just a really cool game overall. Next is Helltaker, a puzzle arcade game with an amazing soundtrack to boot. The concept is simple, complete levels and collect demon girls to expand your harem. Despite this unconventional concept, the game is a treat to play. You have a select number of moves per round, so you need to plan your approach in order to get to the end, and it's addicting trying to crack the puzzles. I was a big Quake fan as a kid, and now we have the modern version in Quake Champions. The game revolves around a hero shooter concept, with characters having unique abilities and attributes, but the gameplay is still incredibly skill-based. In combination with the variety of modes, upgraded graphics, but low system specs means Quake Champions is a super rewarding game to play. My favourite idle game right now is Cell to Singularity, a game where you unlock DNA, early animals, apes, humans and everything in between, learning about how we as humans evolved. There's also offshoots where you learn about the dinosaur kingdom and also the solar system, so there's something for everyone. It's educational, fun and super easy to run, and you will be really surprised about how many hours you put into it. Next is Gwen, a game based on the Witcher universe that takes the familiar concepts seen in Hearthstone, Shadowverse and more, and that's with fast-paced duels combining bluffing, on-the-fly decision making and careful deck construction into an overall really well-refined package. Now the gameplay itself is very reminiscent of Hearthstone and the like, making it easy to pick up and okay even if you're not a card game fan. The lack of pay to win is fantastic too, the game looks fantastic and it's a really high quality title. Next is PlanetSide 2, truly one of the only MMO FPS games that still has a large and active player base. The focus of this game is on huge battles over a massive planet, with you choosing one of 3 factions and vying for control of the planet, with up to 2,000 players on the map at one time. Pick one of the many infantry classes, spawn an ATV, tank, dropship and more, and then squad up with up to 48 players in a platoon. It's all out chaos. Next is Alien Swarm Reactive Drop, a top-down co-op shooter featuring fast and frantic gameplay. The game features a variety of weapons and enemies to keep things interesting, and the levels are designed to be challenging but not impossible. If you're looking for a fun and challenging co-op shooter, this is definitely a good one. This next game goes without saying, and it's RuneScape, the MMORPG that has been around since 2001. This game is well known and well played for a reason. It's got simple yet addictive gameplay, a large and active community, along with a variety of different characters, such as knights, wizards or thieves. One of my favourites on this list is Ironsight, a fast-paced shooter that is heavily influenced by Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Featuring Twitch gameplay, in-depth customization, and years of developed content, Ironsight captures the old-school gameplay in the best way possible and is a very underrated game on this list. Guild Wars 2 is a massively multiplayer online role-playing game and is arguably one of the most popular and long-standing in its genre. In a sea of subscription-based MMORPGs, Guild Wars 2 takes a different approach, with the base game being free to play but expansions being paid. This has resonated with fans, along with the fast-paced combat and deep character customization, so it makes sense why this game is still around since its release in 2012. Next up is World of Tanks, an MMO tank game developed and published by Wargaming.net. In this you can drive tanks in the third-person perspective, either the driver, gunner or crewman, with up to 600 different tanks to choose from. There's tons of game modes, it's hugely popular, but be warned about the slight pay-to-win and grind aspect that a lot of people do complain about. Crab Game is made by Danny Dev, a Squid Game inspired title which is pure chaos and fun. Not only is the gameplay and movement awesome, but the maps and modes are extremely fun. Add the insanely entertaining proximity chat on top of all of this, and it's obvious why Crab Game is super popular. Star Wars The Old Republic is the quintessential MMORPG for Star Wars fans. It offers a rich story, fun gameplay, and a variety of characters including being a Jedi Knight, Sith Warrior, Bounty Hunter, and more. Despite being over a decade old, it still has a huge player base and a very positive rating on Steam. Worth checking out. A game that really keeps on giving is Unturned, a multiplayer survival game developed by only one person. This game is set in a post-apocalyptic world filled with zombies and other players who are just trying to survive. It features different modes, engaging gameplay, modding capabilities, along with its accessible, low system requirements, so it's obvious why this game is really popular. Next is World of Warships, a free-to-play naval combat game featuring 12v12 battles, a large variety of ships, and a pretty active community. While like its sibling in World of Tanks, it's grindy and it has its pay-to-win element, for naval-based combat this game is the best out there in the free-to-play scene. One game I absolutely love is Brawlhalla, the Super Smash Bros-esque fighting game for the PC that has garnered a huge following for its faithful recreation of the classic fighting game concept. Featuring pinpoint gameplay, tons of characters and 2D style graphics, Brawlhalla brings a ton to the table while only really needing 2 gigs of RAM to run. Next up is The Sims 4, the latest edition of the series that is now free to play. Featuring years of development, near infinite customization, a dedicated fan base and hugely positive reviews, reviews, there's a lot going for this game. Unfortunately, you still have to buy the DLCs, but there's more than enough in the base game and I guarantee you'll have a good time. This next game is one of the best shooter-based free-to-play games on Steam, and it's called Warframe. This is a game I've personally put hundreds of hours into, a movement-based, story-focused, hugely customizable and hugely addicting action game that rightfully has a very positive rating on Steam. If you've just downloaded Steam, this is absolutely a must-try game. The next game needs no introduction, and that's Team Fortress 2. With 9 unique classes, various modes, addicting gameplay, and a whimsical art style, there is no doubt why this game has a dedicated fan base. Furthermore, its accessibility and easy to run graphics makes it incredibly easy to hop in and play, and it's a true favourite for low-spec fans. Next is Path of Exile, an incredibly high-quality action RPG developed by Grinding Gear Games. Featuring addictive looter gameplay, an in-depth story, almost limitless customization options, PvP and PvE combat, and much more, Path of Exile is top-notch. Add on top of this its fantastic monetization system, and it makes sense why this game is so positively rated. Next up is the quintessential looter shooter RPG MMO FPS game out right now, and that's Destiny 2. With this game, the high production value shines through, not only in the intense and feature-filled gameplay, but also the beautiful graphics. This makes sense given it was previously a paid game, and this quality holds up even today. Next is War Thunder, a military game that offers a large variety of vehicles to choose from tanks and planes to ships and helicopters. The game's combat is realistic and quite fun, however it can be a bit grindy at times along with its steep learning curve. Overall, War Thunder is a great game for fans of military combat, but it's not for everyone. One of the most popular games of all time is PUBG Battlegrounds, the quintessential battle royale title. With it really sticking to the classic formula of hop in, pick up some guns, take out your enemies and become the winner, creativity isn't high on the priority list, but the execution here makes up for it, and it makes sense why so many people play this game. One of the best free-to-play games out right now is Apex Legends, the Titanfall-based shooter developed by Respawn Entertainment. Alongside Fortnite and PUBG as one of the premier battle royale titles, Apex Legends has incredibly tight gameplay, amazing graphics, a dedicated community, and a ton of content. This, alongside the fan monetization scheme, shows why Apex is definitely a must-try game. A free-to-play games list wouldn't be complete without Dota 2, a MOBA title with a huge player base. While personally I'm a League of Legends guy, Dota 2's in-depth mechanics, awesome cast of characters, fantastic graphics, and extremely fair monetization model ensure it's a must-play Steam game to this day. This next one goes without saying, it's the most popular first-person shooter of all time, and it's called Counter-Strike Global Offensive. It comes with awesome graphics, detailed maps, and community servers galore. It really is the pinnacle of the genre. This is all without considering Counter-Strike 2, the upgrade that brings the graphics, physics, and gameplay to the next level, and will be a must-play game for sure.